The comment at the end of the Book of the Law by the priest.
Oh, but excuse us. Fox here, as he just said, was going to read from the comment at the back of the Book of the Law, but it is our understanding that the organization that holds the copyright for the book, the Ordo Templi Orientis, commonly known as OTO, does not always care for people quoting from Crowley's works. So to sidestep their displeasure, I will simply paraphrase by saying that the comment admonishes the reader to burn the book after having read it only once, and to never study it, and to shun as one would a pestilence anybody who dares to discuss it.
Burn that book, Fox! Burn it!
The Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley, who claimed to have received it from an entity named Aiwass in 1904 in Cairo, Egypt. The book begins with an introduction by Crowley of 5 very brief chapters that claims the text will explain the nature of existence itself. Existence is Nuit, which is space and every possibility therein, and Hadit, any given point that experiences a given possibility. Nuit is symbolized by the Egyptian goddess Nuit, or Nut, the night sky, seen here with her traditional consort Geb. But forget Geb. The Book of the Law likes Hadit for Nuit's boyfriend, which is simply an anglicized way of pronouncing the Greek rendering of the Egyptian name Heru, known more commonly in English as the god Horus. The text represents Hadit or Had as a winged globe at the heart of Nuit. Or rather, Crowley inserted this allusion into the text, which he took from the Egyptian Ankh Efen Ankhonsu. People are stars, Crowley tells us, or words to that effect. Do as you will is all of the law, love being the law, love under will, no law but do as you will. None of what I have just said is an exact quote, but then exact quotes these days might well offend OTO sensibility, which is why, as you can see, I present the exact quote from the book as a Greek formulation. This transliterates the number equivalents with the original Latin letters to Greek letters. Make no mistake, by American law, under the provisions of fair use, anyone is entitled to quote passages from books for critical review. But on YouTube, one is no longer in the United States or under American law. No. A person is using a space on a corporate-owned and managed site that wants no problems from interested parties crying about alleged copyright infringement. And YouTube's policy is to unquestioningly pull videos that get hassled by such parties. Courtesy, you must understand. Of course, OTO would probably not bother to try to shut down the Lucifer series for merely quoting a few lines from the Book of the Law, but let us be clear. The way YouTube's policies are set up, they are certainly in a position to do so. Moreover, the Lucifer series wishes to call attention to the fact that OTO has been known to forbid writers to quote from Crowley in order to discourage any sort of real public forum about his thinking. They own the law, you see. It is their property. I come as a thief in the night. But where was I? Oh yes, Crowley's introduction to the law. Love as will and will as love is thelema, the Koine Greek word for will whose letters correspond to numbers and whose numbers sum to the same total as found in the Greek word agape, the love of neighbor for neighbor. Love is said to be the choice between the dove and the serpent. The Lucifer series embraces both. Thelema, in Fox's experience of it, is love past one's fear of rejection or of exploitation or misunderstanding. Love as will and will as love is power. The power to touch telepathically, to accept, and to know. Thelema is a vibration, and the vibration penetrates all as gently as an uninvasive ultrasound, even as it is as absorbent as Helmholtz's resonance. All magic is true will. All true will is love as will. Now is the age of Horus, the aeon of the child. How is the child to grow up? The future serves the individual, or it serves no one. That is how the child is to grow up, responsible in that view. I quote now, or rather I talk around the quote, from the first verse of the first chapter of the Book of the Law. Had, it says, with an exclamation point, and then it elaborates by saying that had is Nuit's manifestation. By the cipher worked out by Carol Smith in 1974, which serves as the basis for the means by which the Lucifer series decodes the manuscript, every letter of every word represents a number. Had represents 4 plus 1 plus 6 equals 11. The Lucifer series is with Carol Smith for the letters corresponding to the numbers 1 through 10, and even beyond 1 through 10, the Lucifer series is fine to demonstrate results according to the conventional understanding of her cipher. Nonetheless, beyond the number 10, anyone with a real background is going to format the results of the cipher differently than simply assigning a letter the value of its place in the sequence. No system of letter-number correspondence, what is known as gematria, does this. And this system doesn't either. So just what is this system? It is this, a circle with 26 points equidistant from each other, outlining the circle's circumference.
Well, in this particular representation, the points aren't exactly equidistant, but you get the idea.
Each point is a letter of the Latin alphabet, as that alphabet is known to the English-speaking world, and the letters can only be connected thus for it to form what is called a polyhedron, a perfectly centered and symmetrical polyhedron within the circle, a 26-sided polyhedron in this case. An icosahedron hexagon it is called. As you can see, there is only one way to connect the letters to form an icosahedron hexagon, and that is that. This chart here is the big clue to be found in the Book of the Law, or rather in the original edition, which sadly is not included in the copies of the book that most of you out there have, due to the extreme elitism that Crowley was prone to. Fortunately, this elitism has been all but neutralized by the internet, a phenomenon that Crowley had no way of anticipating. Nowadays, almost anything that anybody might want to know about any of this is to be found posted somewhere in cyberspace. Anyway, there is only one sequence of letters that mirror the logic that interconnects them to each other to form the icosahedron hexagon. Since this involves repeating the letters Y and U on this chart to get to the proper order, therein lies the mystery, which I will get to in other videos. Still, well before the alphabet gets to Y or U, there are the first 10 letters, which in any system represent 1 through 10. So our formulation for hat is not in controversy, and by all rights should be something that all sides of the question can agree on. The first word of the first chapter of the Book of the Law comprises 3 single digits summing to 11. Now, the Book of the Law is so unconventional in its treatment of the number 11, a traditionally damning number, that anyone would be in their rights to imagine that something unprecedented is going on here. So taking certain leaps in interpretation are only too understandable, even to imagine that the book is simply counter to ancient knowledge, something indeed defiantly satanic. Since there was always something defiantly satanic in Crowley's own personality, it would seem worth exploring the idea that his channel produced a set of Satanist gospels. But that is another discussion for another time. Now, 4 + 1 + 6 in Hebrew would be Dalet Aleph Vav, which can be pronounced Tao. The alliteration with the Chinese word Tao is not coincidental. The Tao means the way, the ineffable way, the unspoken immaculate perception of pure being in the immediate present that is the focus of Zen Buddhism, which fundamentally is a Taoist path. Fox studied Zen under a Rinzai master and on one occasion experienced the state of Satori, a very high theta brainwave state. Satori at its peak is very fleeting. The experience lasted for about 15 timeless minutes, and its afterflow was with Fox for only about 3 weeks. Our Beelzebub Techniques videos are in keeping with meditative means to that state and are central to how the Lucifer series views any aspect of higher consciousness. Rinzai Zen involves a mind puzzle, a question known as a koan, and the proper higher being mentation involved in reflecting upon the occult can be approached in the same manner as one would a koan.
And even though there's lots more to the meaning of the name Had than that it transliterates into a Hebrew letter combination that can be made to sound like Tao, hey, it's a good place to start. And even if it's not, what are you going to do about it? Turn me into a toad? Yeah, right. Way ahead of you on that one.